Hello, so this is our first video on volume. We're just looking at area, so the natural thing to look at afterwards is volume. Okay, so just to remember what we talked about in class, volume is how much space there is inside a 3D object. Okay, so volume is just simply the space inside 3D object. Okay, and we remembered that when we had area, we used units like centimeters squared or meters squared. For volume, we talked about centimeters cubed or meters cubed, or sometimes cubic centimeters or cubic meters. Okay, and to remind you why we use those kind of units, well, let's think back to when you were first, in the way back when, introduced to your concept of volume. You would have maybe been shown or given a cube made up of little individual cubes, just like this, and each one of these little cubes is 1 cubic centimeter. So I've got 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So in the front of this cube is a row of 4, and behind it is another row of 4 to make 8. Behind that, another row of 4 to make 12, and behind that another row of 4 to make 16. Okay, so if we think about that, well, in order to get that first layer of cubes, we've added them all up, or to think about it like an area problem, to work out that first layer of cubes, we have taken the length of our cuboid, we've multiplied it by the breadth. So if we extend that upwards, well, I could say that that is cube number 17, 18, and I could keep going and going and going. That would take a really long time. So what I have to think is that I've got 16 down here, so the next layer is going to give me another 16, so that's going to take me up to 32. And another layer of 16 to take me up to 48, and then a final layer of 16 to take me up to 64 cubes. Okay, so what I've done is I have taken my 16 and I've multiplied it by 1, 2, 3, 4. I've multiplied it by what we're going to call the height of our cuboid. Okay, so there's our formula for the volume of any cuboid. We're going to take the length, the breadth, and the height. We're going to take 1, 2, 3 dimensions, and we're going to multiply them together. In this case, it's a cube that's 4 times 4 times 4, which would give us 64. Okay, let's look at just generalizing that a little tiny bit. So here I have my cuboid. This cuboid has 3 dimensions, which we are going to call, using a black pen here, we're going to call that length, breadth, and height. And in order to work out the volume, we're going to use that formula. So V for volume equals length times breadth times height. Let's just put in some dimensions to give us an idea of that. So let's say my length equals 10 centimeters, my breadth equals 5 centimeters, and my height is equal to 4 centimeters. I can now, rather than counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 going backwards, and then another 3 layers. I'm just going to use my multiplication. So that's going to be 10 times 5 to make 50 times 4 to make an answer of 200 centimeters cubed. Okay, that's exactly what an answer to working at the volume of a cuboid should look like. Okay, so just a wee recap. So we started off reminding the volume, space inside a 3D object, and very, very importantly, we're using these cubic units, not just squared units. We then looked at this cube and came up with our formula: length times breadth times height. And we can then generalize that for any cuboid, like if it was an area question where we do our 3 lines of working. We're just going to do 3 lines of working. We're going to start with the formula, we're going to put our numbers in, and then we're going to get our answer, and we're going to use our centimeters cubed unit. I can't stress that enough to use the right units here. Okay, in the next video we will look at the volume of a prism for you.